Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of We Are Legion Live. Today we have joining us mAncient. How's it going?
Oh, life is, lots to do, and being a independent artist and working with a lot of other stuff, it's always something to do. So I'm sure you can relate.
I hear you, yes. Um, so, why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, I am an artist. I have a few songs up on Spotify and everywhere else, and also on SoundCloud is like that's where I publish first. I usually make electronica, spiritual electronica, and some dance, and I usually make them on my iPhones, and then I publish directly to SoundCloud, and then I sometimes publish it, move it on to the other services. Um, I am a monk. Um, call it Christian Buddhist monk. Have a lama teacher who's called Tulku Lobsang, who's Tibetan, and used to be a social worker. Worked in social work for since I was 17. But I've also been in some other things, like I was a web designer, marketeer, been in sales, and some different stuff. So, but therapist and also healer. I'm a healer. That's been I've been working mostly with.
Okay. How did you get started within doing your music?
Well, I've been in music for a long time. I was 4 when was taught the accordion. And I kept playing until I was 8. But I released my first album in 2018 on the birthday of my daughter Anna, and I came to a place where, because I've been working in the toughest institutions in Norway, like with people with really serious problems, and it became very dark. Uh, Darkness inside me was also quite strong, and so I decided, okay, I gotta quit. If I'm gonna survive, I need to quit, and I want to be. Now I'm gonna do what is the love of my life, which is music. So I left the job I had at the time, and I started working on putting together. I've had songs from one of the songs was made for my son Alexander, who's now 27. So it's made back in '94, and I put it all together in an album. And it's like a mishmash, it's from some singer-songwriter and some electronica. I remember the feeling of sitting there. Do I really dare to publish this? Is anybody at all gonna listen to this crap? And then I did, and yeah, and since then I got separated from my wife. And 2 years ago, in last Wednesday, I became a monk. And to me, it's like, I'm not running around preaching and saying, you have to believe in this. You will have to go and get your big black book and believe this. I don't don't like it when people preach to me. But music, sharing music, that is love, like the best way of sharing love that I've found,
Mm-hmm.
and also sharing experiences. So that's why I kept on, even though it's been. I mean, I'm not a huge artist, to say the least. My main claim to fame is I have one of my songs has been played 5.4 million times on a karaoke app, which was really cool. But it's like
Yeah,
doesn't.
that is good. And anybody that like follows you on Twitter and things knows that you've got a very good sense of humor to you. And you talking about working as a social worker and working in some really dark places, I can kind of relate because I used to be a maximum security prison guard, and some of the things that you go through and some of the things that you see and you hear while you're doing that type of work kind of makes you develop that personality and that sense of humor out that maybe not everybody can get, but you have to have that sense of humor to keep your sanity
Yeah.
in line, because if you don't find humor in those things, then it will drive you crazy. I mean, and so now I kind of get that you've told me that story. I know exactly where your sense of humor is, and I can relate to that, and that's how it goes. What are some of your musical influences?
Oh, there are so many. I think one of my largest ones is the mAncient with his Soul Mining album. That was like when I first heard that ages ago. I was like, wow, okay, is it possible to create music like this? And Toya Wilcox with their lyrics, they speak to me. I have I do a lot of singing, and then it's don't worry, be happy. Who is like I can't imagine a more gifted vocalist than Bobby McFerrin. I've been to his concerts twice, and I got the last time I got to go up on stage and be a part of that thing. And
That's awesome.
he is so incredible. The way he is on stage, it is like, wow, I
Yeah.
love this guy. It's like, and the way he managed to go from and all the way down to the
Yeah. And I was just talking to a guy who was a country artist that I recently met at a music festival. I hadn't heard of him before the music festival, and I really hadn't listened to any of his stuff. But then he like completely stole the show with the music festival. There's something to say about, yeah, there's people that can sing and they can sing whatever, but then there's also people who can sing and perform. And when you have that stage presence, it adds that extra degree, and it just draws the audience in and makes it that much better. I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, you can go to a concert and say, this guy was a great singer, but you may never go back and see them again. You see, but if there's someone that's you really like their singing and they put it on an amazing show, you're going to find reasons to go back and see those people again and again and again, because you just want that experience. And that's kind of what I've been telling people is you got watch people like the late great Freddie Mercury, who was just from the time he stepped on stage, he owned the audience. He was playing with the audience. He was engaged with them, and I mean, no one can do what he did, obviously, but you can learn little things like that to kind of engage your audience and get them involved, and that makes your live shows all that much more special. Now,
I so agree, and I remember I was in Oregon back in '83, '84, in Dodger City, and I went to see a concert in a concert hall with another great band, Toto, and it's like I was stunned by the music, but at the same time there was something about they were so good that I couldn't hear them make one single flaw. So it's like I needed to hear something a little off key or a little blue note or something. It felt like, wow, this is
yeah,
amazing. And I have so many influences. Because I remember Peter Gabriel in concert in Oslo, and he started the show, and the whole everything went dark, and there was one single spot, and then he came marching in down the aisle with a big drum, and it was going like boom, boom, and his white face, and he walked down with all his band behind him, and then he went on stage, and this came in, and it was like, this is so magic, this is so amazing, and it's like, oh, I love that. Yeah. But this is, you ask about influence. I'm so diverse because I sung opera. So I have this a bass singer called Martti Talvela, and he has the most he's unfortunately dead now. The most amazing bass you can imagine. So, I've tried to get this tone, but there's no way. I can't approach it.
I've tried for years to get into that deep bass, and it is very, very difficult to even get there. And I have a good baritone voice, but just to even get down to that bass, I find it incredibly difficult. And it's not just something that you just naturally have to get there. I mean, or spend many, many, many years trying to reach that level. I mean, it's a really good solid bass is a hard one to imitate. We'll say that.
Yeah, it is, because to use power when you go out, and to be able to vocalize even when you're at that
Yeah,
high,
especially in like an opera type setting. You could do it on a certain level, but like you said, to be able to vocalize that and project it out, it's incredibly difficult to do.
it is.
Yeah.
And I have I'm also a bass baritone somewhere, but I found that if I have a whiskey the day before I'm gonna sing, then I get like a couple of notes deeper, and I get.
Yeah. I know where you're at on that one too. Yeah, I know exactly where you're at on that.
Yeah.
But to constantly be able to keep that low range, especially when you're trying to project out, that just sounds incredibly difficult to me. And kudos to anybody that can pull it off. I know I can't, and I don't know many people who can, but the ones that can do it do completely amaze me with that low range of their voice. And on the opposite end, the people that can hit the extremely high and do it effectively completely just amaze me, because there's no way. I mean, yeah. Yeah, my range is pretty limited on where I'm going. Yeah.
And there might be different. I don't limit myself, so I do a lot of singing on the apps on both Mule and Star Maker, and sometimes I like to sing in a whistle voice, or just to challenge myself, because it's and not to be afraid of people would. What's this guy doing? Bearded monk singing. It's like,
Oh, see, now that you put it that way, I will sing like that, but it ends up sounding more like someone stepping on a cat than it does actually singing. And I don't mind, but everybody else seems to have problems with it. Because I'll sing along and with like, say, like a Whitney Houston or a Mariah Carey song, or even some ABBA songs, and I'll try to hit those high notes, and I don't mind that I don't sound right doing it, because I know I can't sing like that, but everybody else seems like, all right, you need to either go off on yourself or just stop.
No, but it's like you said, it's all about the presence, I think. It's like I just had a competition on the Star Maker app. It's amazing. First we had a week of auditions, and then we had the first part of the finals last Wednesday, and there were like 80 finalists or something. And it's often not the the Whitney Houstons or whatever voices that truly touches you. It often is because they have this special something that just connects with you. And
Yeah, it's the eye contact, it's their movements and stuff. They engage you, and when you can engage someone like that, it kind of covers up some of those flaws that you would normally notice when someone's singing, because you're not necessarily focused extremely on their voice. You're also watching their mannerisms. You're just connecting deeply as a person with them, and you don't tend to notice the mistakes as much when someone's engaged you like that.
yeah, and they often don't matter. And
Yeah.
and I have different certifications in healing. I'm a Tibetan healer, I'm a Norwegian holistic healer, I'm also a song healer. And that is, I think it often has something to do with the overtones. So some people can sing one single. You can use the overtones in use it, and that really hits you because it touches on us on some level. It resonates and it makes you resonate. I think it's fascinating. I've used some mantras in some of my latest songs. The Gayatri mantra, among others. Om bu buat svas tatsavetur marinyan. It's like it's a blessing. And there's a whole science behind it. Lots of stuff, and in India they have schools where you can study it. So I'm an amateur, total amateur when it comes to this. But still, when I hear really good mantra singers, it touches me so deeply, and I can't explain it really. It's beyond words. So that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah, and that's people who really appreciate music and who actually hear the music instead of just listen to the music. You'll find that they have a wider range of music that they will listen to, and they're not just like stuck on one genre and stuff. But when you actually connect with what the artist is trying to come across with, it's a totally different experience. And it does touch you deeply inside. And the people that actually listen or hear the music understand that. People who just listen to it, they don't seem to get that, because they don't get that feeling that we get when we hear those songs. And like you said, it could be just that one note right at the beginning that just hooks you and gets you in it. And yeah, so I know exactly how you're feeling when you say that.
yeah, and it's like that's been, I've created my own genre. I call it Earth House, and that is also the name of my label and my company and my charity, and it comes from Earth Song by Michael Jackson, of course. I think that's inspired by that, and but when you, because I didn't fit with my electronic. I didn't fit within anything, it felt like. So I remember when I put up my first album, I was sitting there and trying to decide what genre is this song. Like, I have no idea. What should I call it? And I'm often still there. It's like it because I've studied sound and acoustics and psychoacoustics a lot, with the binaural beats and all the ways you can use sound to influence the mind and the body and everything. So I incorporate some of that in my music as well. So that's why I call it healing music, because when it resonates, it's been said to help, especially people with some issues with, call it ADHD and also depression. But there is no genre that fits. So, and that has been a challenge, because I've been told you're not commercial. I've heard that from some of the best A&Rs in the business, that you're not. You have to change. You have to start doing tech house, or you have to go into tech house is supposed to be an easy avenue to wealth and fame. But I don't want to, and I want to create my music.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Yeah, creating your own music. I mean, I have to ask people, for one, when they're doing the music, why are you doing it? Are you doing it to become famous? Are you gonna do someone else's music the way they want it done just to become famous, or are you doing music because you just absolutely love the music and that's what you want to do? And of course, you get a wide variety of answers, and they don't understand sometimes that when you sign with major record labels and stuff, that you may not get to be doing the music that you want to do anymore. You're going to have producers and everybody else tweaking and like, oh no, you need to do it like this, you need to do it like that. And for lack of better terminology, the song that comes out at the end might just be a complete bastardized version of what you originally intended it to be, but that's what they want, and that's what they're willing to put their money behind to put down on the record. So why don't we take a little short break, and let's play one of your songs here. I got you loaded up on here on Spotify, and you have any particular one that you?
I would like to, if you could play one from YouTube, because that is actually.
Oh, YouTube.
Yeah, if you search for Minds Behind the Music.
Okay, let me pull up my YouTube here. Caught me off guard. Most people don't have it. Go off YouTube. And which one did you say?
Minds Behind the Music.
Minds Behind the Music.
Yeah.
This one.
And then you got Warriors.
Yes, this one is Warriors. Minds Behind the Music, Warriors is what it's. Or Mind Behind the Music presents Warriors. Is that the one you want me to play?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just cue it up then. Here we go.
has spoken today.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
All right. So, where do you necessarily find, say, your inspiration for your songs?
I find it in context, and that is like when you said that you had been a prison guard. You know, you walk into a room and you sense, okay, something's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I do the same thing. I can sit and songs I made in bars, in hotels, in the forest, in coffee shops, wherever, and I sit to and I observe and feel, and then I take the vibe and I make it into music. Or some of my songs come from meeting people. Like I have a song that is like given to a woman who worked behind the desk at the Grand Hotel in Oslo, because she was excellent at her job and she was such a pleasant person. Another one that goes was to the bartender. At the time, I didn't drink alcohol at all, not at all. So, but there's a guy called Nash, who I was at a day where I was like a little bit off, and working all the time and trying to do stuff, and then I went up to a club nearby, and he works in both places.
Mm-hmm.
And I came up there and he said, "Oh, hi," and then I said my name and what would you like, and it was, that vibe. I went outside and I brought my iPhone and I sat down with my good Bose headset
Mm-hmm.
and made a song, because there was a generosity that he showed in yeah, I don't know how to. It's difficult to explain.
Here's what I'm getting out of what you're trying to say is you take the vibes that you get from people, places, and things like that, and you try to translate that into music for everybody else to feel like that. Where most people will take and try to create a vibe with their music, you're trying to recreate the vibe from someone else to spread out and share that with everybody, which is a really unique perspective. And I think we need a lot more of that. To be quite honest with you, especially in today's day and age where everybody is just so divisive and divided on things. I'm old enough to where I remember a world where things weren't always this way, where we had our disagreements, but we could always come together on things, and it doesn't seem like we come together on much of anything anymore. So, yeah, definitely. But I kind of get what you're feeling there, where you take the vibe that someone makes you feel, and you try to translate it into music for everyone else, which is truly special. In my opinion, anyways.
Yeah, and it's something for on my first album, I have songs that are with vocals, and they may sound. I got one song called Darkness, which is quite dark. It is about terrorism and violence, and people don't always get it. I was once accused of being a racist because I used the N-word and I'm a pale-faced dude.
Yeah, well, trust me, I know.
Yeah. I told the guy, okay, well, my best man in my wedding, he comes from Morocco. He's way too dark to call me a racist, but you do your thing, I'll do my thing. It's okay. But back then I took situations like me and my ex-wife, we lost a child in her womb, and that was rather rough. So I wrote a song to her. Also had a situation with my daughter Anna, who's an incredible singer. She is like, wow, I'm so proud of her. But she was really sick. So it's like I took the feeling of sitting with her in hospital and really and listening to right opposite the aisle. There was a young Pakistani woman who was sitting with her child. And that child was dying. And one day it was just gone. So I took that and tried to write lyrics and share that emotion. And now I'm trying to do it very often without vocals. And see if I can manage to do that, because words often they become barriers.
I mean, you can very easily, especially nowadays, say one thing and want it to mean something completely different, but the way people interpret it becomes, again, for lack of a better terminology, bastardized from what the complete meaning was at all that you had your intent. And especially as the world goes more to online, where it's written word, people tend, without context behind the word, seeing facial expressions and body language and stuff like that, will completely misconstrue what you say. But it's harder to do to do that, to misconstrue something with the sounds, just sounds and music, and it comes as a more pure form of communication.
Yeah, and of course, and also I like to use words like in Warriors, which that is going to be on the Mind Expanding Music. It's a charity album which goes to help heal the world, save the planet, as Phil's mission. So he's going to put up a concert with some really big stars. It's really fascinating. So I felt so honored when it said that we have a spot for you on the upcoming album. And then I got the producer called Now. His real name is Dmitry Now. I gotta check it. Naumov. But I put up a contest on LinkedIn and said, "Hey guys, I need a producer. It's a charity job, so I'm not getting paid for the music. I'm signing away my rights, and sorry, you can't get paid either." And I got so many great people who put up their mixes on Audius, the music platform. I was so I felt like, oh, this is so cool, because that's like the opposite of what you're saying about the big labels. It's like people who really they wanted to do this. They were not in it for the money. They were just wanted to contribute, and they did it in different ways. And now I was the one who was chosen, but I'm going to release the others on my own album because it was great.
Yeah, and that is outstanding, and I love to hear stories like that because it just shows that there still are good people out there who just do things just to do things to help others and not to benefit themselves, because we have so much in this world now there are people, oh yeah, we'll do that, but what's my cut of it, they don't do stuff unless it benefits them. And to hear that there's still good people out there who will do something where there's no benefit to them whatsoever other than the fact that they helped out someone else. And I love hearing stories like that, and we practically we could use a whole lot more of that.
Yeah, it is necessary.
Yeah, and especially in this day and age with the COVID stuff and the lockdowns that everybody goes through. I mean, humans are social creatures by nature, and it's not good for your mental health to be separated and alone for as long as we have. And I've actually seen that. I've seen people who don't realize that they've had a break, but they now spent the better part of 2 years separated from other people, and they're just not the same people they used to be, and they've kind of lost some of that compassion and stuff that makes our species the dominant species on the planet, is the fact that we can help out others for no other reason, just to help out. And but people are losing that, and because they've been forced to rely on themselves, and now they don't want to even hear about what someone else is going through, because everybody's problems are always bigger than anybody else's,
Yeah.
And so it's great. I mean, I don't want to hijack anything that the whole session talking about it, but I just find that amazing, and it's really great that you told that story about yourself and the producers that were lining up to do this, even though there was no apparent benefit to them whatsoever, other than helping someone else out.
Yeah, and especially since it is, I mean, we need to do something about the way we treat Mother Nature.
Yes.
It is necessary. It's there are so many issues, and of course it's easy to get lost in our own pain and in isolation, which I see is a huge problem. Mental health will have, if you want to get into a growth business, get into mental health. That is because there are so many people struggling, and we are made, as you implied, we are made to connect with each other. We need others. we are not isolated beings who thrive on. And I think that goes for everybody. No matter if you're living in a cave, sometimes you need to have
The social interaction.
Yeah, you gotta have it, and that is, I think that is also what I criticized most about all the lockdowns and social isolation and stuff. I said it to I delve a little bit in politics, and I said it to the Norwegian government that you missed out, you forgot much of this, and it could have been so easily rectified. I mean, if you had opened all the churches, all the temples, all the synagogues in Norway, and then let people come at a safe distance, but have a place to connect. And if somebody wants to pray, that's okay. If somebody just wants to be there and and experience the connection with others, that is great.
Yeah,
but we need it.
And you don't even necessarily have to talk with anybody. Just being there, being around the other people, not even having to say a word sometimes is enough. You know, it's just comforting sometimes just to be around people. Not necessarily. Of course, you're eventually going to need conversations and stuff like that, but you just need to be able to feel other people around you and feel like you're part of something other than just yourself. I mean, it'll wear on you after time. A perfect example, have you ever seen the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks in it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, well, he worked for UPS or FedEx or some place like that, and his plane crashes out at sea, and he washes up on an island, and he's there by himself, and he ends up one of the packages had a volleyball in it, and he ends up making a friend, and he would talk to the volleyball and stuff like that, and people would laugh and joke about that, but there's people like you and I who've been in situations where we've been around people who've been in isolation and stuff and mentally ill, and you realize it's really not that funny because you will invent things to talk to because humans do need that social interaction. If they're not there, you will find some way to have that interaction.
Yeah, and let me show you my social interaction, because I do meet a lot of people, but this is my little.
Oh, look at that! Oh, so beautiful.
This is Trollis Nessie. She's a rescue dog. I've had her since May last year, and she's been in 2 families before she came to me, and she's had a rough life. She was trained as she got what do you call it, in protection training and search and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's a sharp dog, and then she was also in families with small children, so that didn't really work out. With having a boy who was said to be all over the walls, and then with the shepherd, like she's a Malinois, a Belgian shepherd, who wanted to keep them within the walls.
Yeah,
it didn't work. She never bit anybody, but she could be rough. So she has a lot of. I can sense that she has a lot of stuff in her baggage. But she's part of what keeps me alive. And I talk with her sometimes, and she doesn't respond much, but we sing together. That was I got when I first met her. I was driving, and she was sitting next to me in a harness, and I started singing some song, and she joined in. So I put it up on Insta. I think it was, but it was like wolves howling at the moon, and she.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing with my dog. I talk to my dog all the time. Of course, he's not much of a conversationalist. He just basically just lays there and looks up at you. But he does. He'll sit there and he'll look at you and acknowledge you while you're talking to him. So at least there's that. but he's a good dog, and she's a very beautiful dog. And uh, sometimes that's the best thing, because humans don't necessarily like to listen, but your dog will sit there and they'll listen to everything that you have to say. So, and no judgments from the dog. So that's always a positive, and any way to get you through that, because they're the mind's a very very complicated thing, and if you don't take care of it, uh, it can it can do some very very damaging things to you. So
It can, and I worked with dogs for a long time. My last dog, it was a flat-coated retriever, a brown flat-coated retriever, and he started working with me when I was 3 months old. I had a private assignment with a young boy who's one of the most sensitive kids I've ever met. Or not a private, yeah, I was working as a private a contractor, but it was for the county, and working with Cooper, which was his name. I have a tribute album to him on my SoundCloud. That was so amazing, because he sensed what I couldn't sense in the boy. So by watching Cooper, I could see, oh, there you misstepped. Okay, I gotta say something else. I have to fix the situation somehow. And I worked with that boy for a year and a half, and we set up our own school for him, and that was incredible. So and then I used the dog in other institutions where I worked also with young single minor immigrants who came from Pakistan and Somalia, and because they're often scared of dogs, so I introduced some of them to him so they could see that, okay, not all dogs are dangerous.
yeah,
They are in Afghanistan. They are guard dogs, and they live outside, and you shouldn't approach them. But yeah, the dogs are special.
yes, and as you said, they can sense things that you can't sense. And I've always had a saying: I never trust a person who doesn't like dogs, but I always trust a dog who doesn't like a person. Because if the dog doesn't like them, there is a very good reason why the dog doesn't like that person, and you should probably listen to them.
Yeah,
And because they're hypersensitive to that sort of thing, and
yeah. I that is so true, Bill. I remember I was in a car store I was gonna get my car serviced and I brought Cooper inside, and there was this guy who came in, and he was like an older guy, a little bit hunched up and quite tiny. And when Cooper saw him, he immediately started barking, and he never did that. That was so rare. First he started growling, and then he started barking. And then I looked at the guy, and then I saw it myself, because I have a this was not a good person. This was really so, and I worked with a lot of abuse victims, and I knew, and I looked him in the eyes, and I could sort of sense that he knew that I knew, and that was wow.
yeah. So
The
yeah,
dogs are incredible. They are gifts. They are angels in disguise. Really.
and another thing you were saying that earlier, that we need to take better care of nature and stuff. I'm a big outdoors type of person, and I got two young boys, and they love being outdoors. And that's the one thing that I really instill and to them when we're out there is leave it as you find it. Okay, go out, enjoy nature, but leave it as you find it. Don't cause harm, and just because there's people take that stuff for granted, and they make even small changes. Like over here in the States, we have these people that go out into creeks and stuff like that, and they'll stack rocks. Looks pretty, but they don't understand what that does. Every time you move those rocks, you actually completely change an ecosystem in there, and you damage what was there, and you can actually cause a big problem by moving that one rock out of the creek. And they don't understand that. Because again, they're out for the self gratification of all of it, and instead of just enjoying it as it is and taking in the natural beauty and leaving that there for other people to enjoy. And also another problem that creates is in some of our national parks, they do use stack rocks as trail markers. But with all these other people stacking different rocks, you've now taken away the trail markers, and people end up getting lost out there, and you just never know what you do. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of going out and enjoying nature. Please leave it as you find it, and don't you make a mess, clean it up.
Pick up your waste.
Don't change the environment, because as much as you enjoyed it, just like how you enjoyed it while you were there, and then once you change it, it's no longer the what you enjoyed anymore.
Yep.
You're changing it into something else for someone else to experience, and just let the natural beauty show through.
Yes, it's important, and the small things that we can do. Like I've with Nessie, she has her own Instagram account, by the way, trollheads_Nessie, Nessi. She has taken it upon herself to pick up cans for energy drinks or whatnot. So we go have our routes that we walk, and if she sees the can, she picks it up, and then I toss it in the recycling station. And she's so proud, wagging around, and then she finds another can, and she compresses the first one and takes two. Then she gets a problem when she gets up to three. Then it's not so easy to bring along, but she manages. So she picks up cans and bottles and be thrown.
And yeah, stuff like that's important. All right, well, we've been on here for about an hour now, and it's starting to get late over there, and I'm sure I could talk to you for quite some time. So anytime that you would like to be back on the show, please DM me and let me know. I mean, or just sit around and have a conversation. I'll be more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
It's been great. But before we go, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on social media and where your music and stuff is at, so they can go check you out for themselves.
Yeah. On social media, on Twitter and Instagram, I am mAncient_com. That is also one of my websites, mAncient.com. I have music up on many platforms. But if you search for mAncient on Spotify and SoundCloud and whatnot, I often use SongWhip myself. I found that to be a great service. So if you go to songwhip.com/mAncient, you find links to everything. But I'm also on Audius. That is like I think I like the concept of Audius, that they have a cryptocurrency that you can get for whatever. So I use that's where I put up when I had the producer competition. That's where I put it up for getting the remixes out. There I'm mAncient there, and people should check it out. It's like a thriving community. They have lots of stuff going on. And my first meeting with Audius, it's audius.co, was they had Electro Mouse playing a gig, and I was like, wow, This is the guy I've taken a course online with him in composition and electronica. So it's like, wow, I gotta hear this, and I love his music. Yeah, but I'm mAncient most places, and Twitter is my music network. I never really figured out Instagram.
Yeah, I'm working on it myself. So yeah.
Yeah, that is. I've had an account for a long time. My daughter Anna was supposed to help me out with it, and because I just follow everybody, and this is like,
Yeah.
there's so many cool people there, but I don't really get it. But Twitter is, besides LinkedIn, that is. I think if you're a musician and you're listening to this, you really should look into LinkedIn. That is, it's a place they have got some amazing people, both who work in the background and musicians and stuff like that, and you should connect with me. LinkedIn.com/in/mAncient. That is it's a cool network. Got some good people. But if you want, mAncient.one is like my main site. I need to do something about it. It's a link tree, and I tend to put everything up there. So it's like,
yeah,
articles and it's whatever I'm working on. But it's got links to my music.
Okay. Well, again, thank you so very much for being on the show, and I appreciate our time. It was a wonderful conversation, and be more than happy to do it again sometime. But other than that, you have a great evening, and whenever this video pops up, I will send you the link to it so you can share it however you want to. Awesome. On your sites or whatever, and however you want to. But thank you again, and you have a great evening.
Same to you. Namaste.
Namaste. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for coming out, Susan and Pinky. And of course, you know to hit the like button on the way out. We had to do it a little bit early today with the video because obviously he's over in Norway and there's a 7-hour time difference. So that's why we're a little bit early today. I'm still trying to edit the videos to get some stuff out from Freedom Jam. The finished product for everybody to enjoy, and we got a few other people that are supposed to be coming on to talk. I'm not sure, we haven't nailed down any dates yet or times, but also coming up on the 25th. Oh, don't worry about it, Susan, it's not a big deal. On the 25th, we are doing Freedom Jam Southeast Missouri, so there will be more, and I will be better prepared this time, so we will have probably some live stuff coming out of there, as well as some videos for later on that. But again, thank you all very much for coming out. Please go out and follow mAncient on all his platforms. He's got some really good stuff, and just strike up a conversation with him. Pinky, he might be someone good just for you to chat with. You know, I found some of his stuff very enlightening, so reach out, give him a holler. But again, thank you all for coming out. And until next time, we will see you later. Have a good day.